This is Ain't No Way MMA. Today we're going to be talking about our reactions to UFC Fight Night Covington versus Buckley.
We're gonna start with the prelims. I'm just gonna run through the first like 5 or 6, and then after that get a little bit more into detail. Knutsson fought horribly, got fraud checked, 8-0, now 8-1. Rodriguez just out grappled her, even outstriked her on the feet. She just did not look good the whole time through. Pretty uninteresting bout altogether. Next running through, we got Davey Grant, the masterclass of volume that I expected. His unorthodox, weird style worked out really well. He outpaced Ramon Taveras, outlanded him, and I think he did more damage too. I know Davey Grant's face didn't look great after, but he was landing the bigger strikes, more powerful strikes as well. It was a really fun matchup overall. Davey Grant with a win, my favorite thing to watch.
Next up, we have Miranda Maverick, someone who I was really excited to see fight, but actually it turned out to be really sort of disappointing.
Womp womp. I'm gonna be real. Miranda Maverick had a lot of opportunity to like push the pace. She was doing better on the feet than Horth altogether, but decided to just grapple with her and kind of grab her toes and, try and rip her off the cage. I thought it was gonna be a master class, but it was really honestly just a bit boring. A lot of fence work, not a lot of urgency from either fighter. Very uninteresting bout altogether. A little bit disappointing, especially from someone I like in Miranda Maverick.
Good on Horth for coming in a month after and still being active and whatnot, but I don't think either of them looked all that good. That could just be me being a casual, but it didn't feel like a normal Maverick fight where she's usually the one pushing the pace and getting in their face. It seemed very lax.
Maverick seemed off and Horth seemed off. It was just overall not a great match. Hopefully they both improve from it or learn something from it and, are better in the future from it. Felipe Lima and Miles Johns had a great match. I thought it was going to be fight of the night. Honestly, it was pretty close to being, except for the fact the co-main event was so amazing. And even the main event was pretty good too. We'll get to that eventually. I do think Felipe Lima has a lot of potential in featherweight. I really like the way he fights. I know he's a bit small for featherweight, considering all things. He fought a bantamweight basically in Miles Johns, who moved. Miles Johns is a very battle-tested guy. He's been in the UFC for almost 10 years now, and he made pretty good work of him the entire time. Miles Johns landed some pretty good overhands, some pretty good wind-up shots, but otherwise Lima had all the answers and out-grappled him, outstruck him, and it was a really good showing from Felipe Lima.
These were two fighters that I have not actually seen before. Maybe I have, but not very familiar with them. But both of them were dogs in this fight. I found it really funny that Miles Johns would shake his head and start talking to Lima, just be like, "Come on, still hit me, come on," and just it was funny because I think he was trying to hype himself up and try and goad him on, but I mean, it worked out pretty good.
Every time I think of hyping someone up, I think of Unc Smith, Anthony Smith, where he's like, "You're attacking my family mid-fight." But no, Miles Johns, he literally looked like a pit bull in there. He fought really well. I love to see Felipe Lima against someone a little bit more talented than Miles Johns, and maybe a guy in his own weight class, like in featherweight. Not exactly sure who that is just yet. Next up was Sean Woodson. I'm going to be completely honest. I did underestimate Sean Woodson's striking. He looked really good in there. Also, I underestimated how horrible Padilla's striking and striking defense is. It is the worst striking defense I may have ever seen off of any fighter ever, let alone a featherweight at this lanky range where he should be good at striking. I know Padilla's specialty is the ground, but that was embarrassing. That was fully embarrassing. Woodson was just landing anything he wanted to. He was just throwing a simple jab down the middle or a right hand. It would guaranteed land every time. Sean Woodson had insane accuracy. I think upwards of 70 to 80% of significant strikes landed. I know they call him the sniper, Sean Woodson. He was begging for a bonus for that because he finished him. He's like, "Oh, I finished the finisher," but I don't know, man. I think you give him top 15 and he probably gets chinned. I don't like Sean Woodson. I don't think he's much of a talent or has very much potential, but I think he's still interesting. And if he can slug his way up the ranks, good for him. I just don't believe in him, to be completely honest. For a fight with that many landed strikes, you'd think it was interesting, but I was very underwhelmed the entire time. As expected, with Joel Alvarez and Drakkar close, Joel chinned him a little bit earlier than I thought. I thought Drakkar would at least last the second or third round, but Joel Alvarez had a pace on him from the beginning. Very stiff. He looked very stiff, very just right here like this. I was a little worried about it because Drakkar Klose is known for his overhands, but he knew they were coming. Even when he struck him out onto the cage, he was subbing him while punching him at the same time. I was like, I know you have 100% finish rate, but pick what you want to do, man. I thought it was pretty funny overall, but it was a pretty fun matchup. Joel Alvarez always brings the finishing rate through, so I'd love to see him against top 15. Put him against Jalen Turner, please. Put those two lanky, gangly fucks together. It'll make a great fight because they both have great technique. They know how to fight. They're both interesting. They're both on the outside of the top 10. I think Joel is outside the top 15 and Jalen Turner is 14th. So I'd love to see that matchup next.
Thank you, Michael Johnson, for remembering how to fight.
Michael Johnson, I love you so much. I can't believe I doubted him. No, I know why I doubted him. It's because he looks like either Justin Gaethje or a bum off the street. Today, he looks like Justin Gaethje. He's throwing the hands fast, good combinations. I didn't like his striking defense a whole lot, but he was eating the shots okay. Ottoman Azaitar looked really quick, really strong, but Michael Johnson caught him on the outside of that combination. Nasty right hand down the middle. Just hooked him with a good 4 and out his lights went. It was a great finish for Michael Johnson. Super happy to see that. I would love to see a matchup with Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit Saint Denis, Michael Johnson, make it happen. That'd be fireworks. I think everyone would want to see it. I know Benoit is taking a little bit of time off, but I still think that'd be a great matchup. Maybe do it February, March of next year. That's a great one. Run that one up. Navajo Stirling, kind of what I expected. A lot of underwhelming talent, someone that shouldn't have been in the main card in the very first place. I don't understand it. I still don't understand it after watching it. I was thinking, oh, maybe really fun prospect, first round knockout. I think we learned a little bit about Navajo Stirling in this fight. He can't really land very accurately unless you really hand him the shot on a silver platter. Speaking of silver platters, we're just going to run out of that. Adrian Yanez. I can't believe you're this bad. You got handed a win on a silver platter and you couldn't manage to do anything with it. Round 3, your opponent's gassed. He's coasting. He thinks he won the round. He's hands down leaning against the octagon and you're just framing, will not throw a punch. Yanez did not want to win. There was no urgency. There was no, I think I lost this fight, I should turn it up now. There was so many opportunities where Yanez could have finished the fight. He chinned Marcos early in the first, didn't capitalize on it. The only thing he wanted to do was throw giant hooks and haymakers. I didn't understand it at all. I don't want to see Daniel Marcos against anyone. I don't want to see Yanez against anyone. I don't really care. They both made me upset in this fight. They showed no urgency or real talent for this division. I know Daniel Marcos is 17-0 now. I don't care. I don't think he's that good. He's going to get chinned by anyone that has any sort of talent. And Yanez obviously doesn't have that anymore like he used to. So underwhelming.
This light heavyweight bout made me upset. I don't know if I'm just, not accustomed to seeing big boys throw punches, but it was very boring the whole time until the flash knockout by Dustin Jacoby.
Dustin Jacoby ran away for 12 straight minutes while Vitor chased him. It's Vitor's fault for chasing and not cutting off the cage, but it's also Jacoby's fault for running backwards for 12 minutes. And then he said, let me get possessed by Kamaru Usman, and threw the nastiest right hand down the center. Actually threw one good strike. It landed, knocked out Vitor cold. And everyone's like, oh, he was just waiting for the perfect strike. No, he wasn't. He couldn't find the strike because he was running backwards the entire fight. The only time he really decided to move forward, he landed well and flushly knocked him out. He could have done that in the first round if he wanted to. If he showed any sort of urgency, it would have been a fun fight, would have been interesting. But no, Dustin Jacoby likes to bounce on his feet like this and go backwards. Another underwhelming fight. People really said this card was crazy good. Overall, I like this card, but those fights definitely disappointed me. Manel Kape looked insanely improved since his last outing. When he fought Makayev, he looked slow. He looked uninterested. I mean, the scrambles were always fun with Makayev, of course. I know Manel Kape can scramble. They don't need to know that again. I just need to know he could throw accurate strikes and perform. He did that. His cardio looked good. He landed really well against Bruno Silva. I like Bruno Silva a lot, honestly. I didn't like the taunting. I do dislike Kape heavily still. This does not make me like him anymore. I do think he deserves a contender matchup, though. Put him against Kai Kara France. Make that the main card. Throw like Carlos Olberg on there. Maybe Tai Tuivasa. Throw some fan favorites from Australia, New Zealand on there. Dan Hooker. Throw Dan Hooker with Conor McGregor on there. I don't know. They'd be the main event. But you know what I mean. You can make a really good card out of that. It makes like the title eliminator. It gives Pantoja a damn challenge. No one can challenge Pantoja right now. You can't say Manel Kape, after being the number 12 guy, can go fight for a belt. It doesn't make sense. Even Dana disagreed with it. I think you set Manel Kape with Kai Kara France, and whoever wins that gets the title eliminator. I think that works great.
What did you think of Cape, yelling at Dana and talking to Dana?
Cape is so very egotistical. He thinks he's God. I mean, he said it on the microphone. I'm the best. There's no one like me. I mean, I don't care. I do not care. I think Cop will get decimated against Pantoja quite handedly. I think Pantoja just destroys him. Pantoja's got a better chin, quicker, stronger, faster, more marauder, walks through strikes. No way. I don't think Cape's doing anything.
I was rooting for Bruno Silva. It was unfortunate that he just kept getting his takedown stuffed. I think he tried to shoot 2 or 3 times and Cop just kind of backpedaled and stayed out of it. So he was forced to fight hand to hand and it didn't go well.
I think we're just going to discount the entirety of nut shots. I know Cop got hit in the nuts 3 times, and then for the finishing sequence, Bruno Silva got hit in the nuts. It was upsetting, but I think I discount it because Cop did get hit in the nuts 3 times before that, and then Silva did the finishing sequence. I think they should have given Silva, after the nut shot, time to recover, but it didn't happen. But I mean, it's only karma for hitting him in the nuts 3 times before that, and then throwing a low kick after the 3rd time, after getting a point taken, he immediately throws a low kick that's like this close to his nuts. I felt like he was trying to get DQ'd for a second. It worried me. Interesting matchup. I'm impressed with Cape's performance. The Cub Swanson flow state went wild. I am so happy for Cub Swanson. I hope this is a retirement fight because it'd be the greatest retirement fight of all time, in my opinion. You can't top that kind of performance. 41 years old, absolutely flowing against Billy Quarantillo. I think Billy Q had a really good game plan. I think he executed it well too, until the 3rd round. The no defense sort of marauding through the strikes and trying to land more than what was put at you. It works until you get chinned. You can't just rely on your chin when you've been chinned 3 or 4 times before this fight. I like Billy Q. I think he had a good game plan. It was a really fun fight. But Cub Swanson was just so accurate, so fun to watch, and it was fight of the night by a landslide. Reminds me of when he fought Doo Ho Choi just a while ago. And if Cub Swanson stays around, give me Doo Ho Choi 2 with Cub Swanson. You have to. Doo Ho Choi is just coming off of one of his best performances ever, and Cub Swanson is coming off of one of his best performances ever. There's no other way to do it. If Cub retires, though, I totally respect it. Even though my pick was wrong, I'm super happy with that matchup that just happened.
Swanson with a beautiful 1-2 down the center to put Billy Q stiff board on the floor.
So crisp. So crisp. I love Cub Swanson. San Diego native, baby. You. Joaquin Buckley masterclass, new Manta, baby. I knew it was going to happen. He out-grappled Colby Covington. He beat him up on the feet, caught him open real bad 1st round. I know that's what caused the stoppage. I saw comments on Instagram, me doom scrolling and all that. People were saying Colby Covington was winning the 3rd. No. He got a minute of control time. Joaquin scrambled out, sprawled on his next 2 takedown attempts, started landing on the feet again. All 3 rounds were very clearly Joaquin Buckley in dominant fashion. He stuffed 8 of 10 of the attempted takedowns. Joaquin Buckley looked awesome. He looked really good. His cardio looked good. He looked crisp from the start, and Colby looked terrible. Good for Joaquin Buckley. I'd love to see him against Kamaru Usman next. I love the post-fight speech on the mic. That was cold, where he's like, you decide. He told the crowd to decide on the win. That was super fun. I would love to see him against someone like Bilal eventually. If he wins against Kamaru, I think he gets that title shot. If not, give me Ian Gary. Ian Gary, Joaquin Buckley title eliminator. I wouldn't be mad.
Give me Buck versus Cuck.
Give me Buck versus Cuck. I've been asking for it. Lord willing. It was a decent card. Nothing generational. But Bedtime Picks said it was generational. I don't know about all that. This was like an 8 out of 10 card, but some definite disappointing performances in between. But yeah, great card overall. I had a good time.